Hello dear viewers, myself Nirjhor Hasan, welcome to English Pathshala. Do you want to improve your writing skills? Yeah, especially writing and speaking, these are not kind of same. As we know, speaking is kind of primary skill and it can be used formally, informally, whatever you wish you can do, but writing is much orientated as well as it is being very formal and academic. So to improve your writing, you need to focus some kind of steps and you have to make sure that you have good access that kind of knowledge and you can develop your writing, oriented writing that can be useful for any kind of documentary or IELTS exam writing, even academic writing. So today I'm just going to give you some kind of good steps where you can find yourself to write something very standard in English. So first, I have got a good and great step for you that is called avoid words. Some of speakers or learners or writers, when they're just going to write something, most of the time they use some kind of silly words like so, really, very, a lot. This is not really healthy when you can just have these words in your writing time and again. So what you can do, you can stop using these words in your writing. For an example, I have an example. A lot of people think English is very hard language. So where a lot of, instead of a lot of, you can write many. Many people think English is very hard. You can write difficult language. So start avoiding this kind of words in your writing, because in speaking it's quite okay, there is no problem, but in writing, please try to avoid those words because it is kind of less standard. Do you have any question? Thank you very much. Then move on our second tips, that is called contractions. When we just write something, some writer, they write this kind of form like a don't, doesn't, but this is not great in order to write something. For speaking it's very fine, and even sometimes contractions gives you a kind of ornaments in your speaking, but not in writing. Please never write any kind of contraction in your academic writing, like don't, doesn't, shouldn't, isn't, won't. There are lots of. So what you can do, you can write this form: do not, does not, should not, is not. So contraction is highly discouraged in order to write something in English. Clear? Now our next steps to develop your writing, that is called avoid there is and there are. Most of the time we use introductory there to express some kind of things in our writing, but sometimes it is really very weak form. If it is not necessary, then please don't try to write that kind of sentence in your writing. For an example, there are many problems that students face at university. There are many problems. Instead of there are, you can have that sentence in different, like students face many problems at university. So this one is better than the first one. So you don't need to use introductory there in everywhere. If it is needed, then you can write. For example, there is a school in my village. You can go with it, as well as you can make sure, or you can practice in your speaking. But for writing, you don't need to always use there is and there are. Got it? Okay, fine. Then our next tips, that is called don't use passive, because it's kind of very weak form. Passive gives very weak form of any kind of masses. Do you know that? Well, if you know, it's fine. But the true thing is there, passive is really a weak form of sentence. What we see, some important steps were taken by university. Some important steps were taken by university. But the sentence can be written the same way. University took some important steps. So what I would request, when you're going to write something in English, if it is possible to write in active sentence, please never write in passive form because it's a kind of weak sentences. But when it is needed, yeah, you can go for it, but not everywhere. If it is possible to write in active form, please don't write in passive form. So, some important steps were taken by university. It can be said, university took some important steps. So, this one is better for your writing. And the very last tips or steps for you to develop your writing we have that is called use strong verb, strong form, formation of sentence. Because some kind of writing we see, especially in IELTS writing, in a weak form are not highly appreciated rather than strong form. So just try to use strong form or strong verb in your writing. So do you know how to have strong form in your writing? The first, you can have an example. He made a mistake. It's okay. You can use, even you can write. But to use strong form is a kind of weak form, weak verb. So you can write strong for that is he mistaken. You need just excess of some word. You just excess of some word. You don't need to use to increase your number of words in your writing because it's not a kind of strong form. So just try to make sure that yes, you have strong verb and you do know how to use. Another example at the last we have weak verb that is they conducted an investigation. The sentence might be said they investigated. So just try to avoid using weak form or weak verb in your writing and make sure that yes, you do know how to use strong verb to have a standard or highly orientated writing. So lastly, again I would say just follow our steps what I have already shared to improve your writing. It might be IELTS exam or it might be any kind of academic exam, because writing is kind of evidence. When a reader go through that things, it is being very clear. They can read once, twice and thrice, not like of speaking. So please, to improve your writing, make sure that you have that kind of steps and you make sure you can practice those words. So thank you very much. If you do have any question regarding your writing, so please you can feel free to ask questions. You can comment us, you can send messages, and you may have more videos in our YouTube channels. So if you subscribed already, it's great. If you haven't yet, then you can subscribe with our channel and you have new more lessons every time, every day, even every week. Thank you very much for being with us and see you next time. Goodbye.